told you what to chase, told you how to run the race. Every move was on the page, but I didn't like their way. Had to fight and misbehave.
Hi everyone, Mike here from Bikes by Mike with another cycling related video. In my last video I did an unboxing of my new Cannondale Scalpel LAB71 mountain bike. Today I demonstrate one of the first things you should do to any new bike, which is applying frame protective film. Okay, let's get to it. First things first, what type of film am I talking about here? Basically, if a product is called paint protective film or PPF, it is most likely what I'm using today, which is a polyurethane protective wrap. And the installation process basically applies to all brands of PPFs. But PPFs are not the same as vinyl wraps. PPFs are not made of vinyl and are not installed the same way. If you're buying a wrap to protect the paint finish on your frame, then buy PPF, not vinyl. Today's video has three parts. I'll start off by showing you the tools and supplies you'll need for the job. I'll then show you the entire process of wrapping your bike from start to end. And I'll wrap things up with before and after shots of my completed bike. These are the tools and supplies you'll need for the job. 2 spray bottles, distilled water or filtered water, Dawn dish soap or baby shampoo, isopropyl alcohol, a measuring spoon or syringe and small and large volume measuring cups, a few microfiber cloths, a utility knife with a new blade, fine tip markers, straight edge ruler and a bendable ruler can sometimes help, scrap paper or transparency sheets for making templates. You'll need your paint protective film. I'm using 3M ScotchGard Pro Series 4.0 for the matte painted parts on my bike, and regular 3M ScotchGard Series Protective Film for the glossy sections. And lastly, you'll need a cutting board. Now I'll guide you through the process of applying the wrap, starting with preparing the necessary solutions. We'll be filling 2 spray bottles with 2 different solutions. The first solution is what is called a slip solution that prevents the film from binding to the paint. It gives you time to slide the film around before it locks into place. I'll create a 500 milliliter solution by adding 500 milliliters of distilled water to my spray bottle. I'll then add 1 milliliter or just over a quarter teaspoon of baby shampoo. I like using a small medical syringe for this, but it's not absolutely necessary. Gently mix the solution together and then put it aside. You can also use 0.5 millimeters or 1/8 teaspoon of Dawn dish soap instead of baby shampoo. Both work equally well. The next solution is called a tack solution and is used to speed up the time it takes for the wrap to lock into place. This is handy to seal outer edges of your film and to prevent them from curling up or slipping around. Some people use heat guns or hair dryers, but the tack solution is the method recommended by 3M. For the tack solution, I'll add 415 milliliters of distilled water to my spray bottle. I'll then measure out and add 85 milliliters of my 99% pure isopropyl alcohol. Mix the solution around and set it aside. Make sure to check the purity level of your isopropyl alcohol and use the appropriate amount. 3M says that the solution must not exceed 17% isopropyl alcohol by volume. Before we apply the wrap, we need to make sure our frame is perfectly clean. If your bike has been ridden, give it a good wash with soap and water. My bike is new, so it's already very clean, but I still need to make sure there's no wax, ceramic coating, or any other polishing finish that will prevent the film wrap from adhering properly to the frame. So I'm going to use my tack solution along with my microfiber cloth to clean the parts of the frame I'll be wrapping. Dry it off with another microfiber cloth and your frame is now ready to wrap. How much of your bike you choose to wrap is entirely up to you. Generally, more is better, of course, but it's impossible to get 100% coverage, especially since curved shapes are very difficult to wrap. Having not wrapped most of my mountain bikes over the years, I now know which areas absolutely need to be wrapped and others that are less likely to get scratched. For a mountain bike, the following parts of the frame really need to be protected. The top tube extending as far to the seat tube and head tube as possible, the down tube from the head tube to close to the bottom bracket, and both of the chain stays from the rear frame linkage points to the rear dropout. Wrapping the head tube also isn't a bad idea. Even though this area isn't likely to get scratched in a crash, having cables rub up against your frame can really scuff up the finish of the paint. It's also not a bad idea to wrap other areas of your frame like the seat tube and seat stays, but these areas aren't quite as important. There are different ways to go about cutting your film to fit your frame. I like using templates. Using a scrap piece of paper or transparency sheet, mark out the exact shape and size to create an accurate template for your wrap. Now cut out the template. Take your time to be as precise as possible so that you get the best coverage on your frame. Place the template back on the frame to make sure it fits perfectly. If it doesn't, trim the template and make any necessary adjustments. Take your time through this process as it's easier to size it up properly now than when installing the film on the frame. Now use your template to mark the outline on the PPF. I suggest you always mark the backing tape side of the film so that you don't accidentally leave behind pen or other markings on your wrap. As you can see here, I'm marking the wrong side of the film. I smartened up a bit later. Using a sharp blade, cut your film to size. Again, take your time as to get the best result. You need to be precise with your cuts. Do a dry fit to make sure the piece of wrap fits perfectly before proceeding to the next step. You now have one piece of protective film ready to wrap. It's really important before applying the film to make sure your hands are clean. Any oils or dirts on your hands will immediately transfer to the sticky backside of the film, so give your hands a good wash. Spray the part of the frame you're working on liberally with a slip solution. To keep the film clean and to prevent the film from sticking to your hands, it's a good idea to spray some slip solution onto your hands. Now grab your prepared piece of film, pull back the backing strip, and liberally spray both sides of the film with your slip solution. Now position the film onto your frame, and with the slip solution, you should be able to move the film around a bit to get it properly positioned. When fitting it into place, you always want to start from the center and work your way outwards. This will push all the trapped air bubbles out from under your film. If bubbles are getting trapped, it's because you aren't using enough slip solution. More is better. Air bubbles trapped beneath the film will stay there for good, so make sure to get them all out during the installation process. Continue to work your way around the piece of film until it's fully adhered to the frame without any air bubbles showing. If you have edges of your film that won't stick or slowly peel away from the frame, use your tack solution to wash away the soapy water and lock the film into place. You generally want to do this when the entire piece is laid and all air bubbles are removed. Although sometimes this technique is useful to lock one end of the film in place as you work your way to the opposite end. There's no need to rush this. If you get air trapped beneath the film, just pull it back and then reapply it. You can do this as many times as necessary. If your film starts drying up, just spray on a bit more slip solution. This is good to reduce the friction with your squeegee, which can damage and stretch the film. The biggest mistake you can make is not using enough slip solution. You're done when all the air bubbles are removed and the film is locked into place. Now repeat the exact same process for all the other sections of film you're applying to your frame. So here now is what my scalpel looked like before the wrap and what it looks like now. So that is pretty much it for how you go about wrapping your bike with paint protective film. It's a great way to keep your bike looking new, and it'll also help preserve its resale value. Give it a try. Let me know in the comments section how it worked out for you, and share any tips and tricks that I may have missed. That's all I got for today, folks. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you're not a subscriber to this channel, please subscribe, as it allows me to produce more content for all of you. See you next time. Happy rolling.